My daughter invited her mother's lover to her wedding. I told her I wouldn't attend if he was there. She invited him anyway, so I didn't go. Now, years later, she wants to reconnect. I was never supposed to be the villain in my daughter's life. Her name is Lucia. She's 27 now, beautiful, intelligent, and stubborn, just like her mother. I raised her mostly alone after the divorce. Her mother, Victoria, was in and out, always finding herself, which I later realized was code for sleeping with other men while I worked double shifts to keep us afloat. Victoria and I were married for 12 years. I thought we were solid. I was a father, a husband, a provider, not flashy but steady, reliable. I thought that mattered. Then one night, everything unraveled. Lucia was 10. I remember that day vividly. Lucia sat at the dining table working on a solar system model for science class. Painted foam balls were scattered before her, her tongue between her teeth, lost in focus. "Dad," she said without looking up, "can you grab the glue from the garage?" "Sure, sweetheart. Be right back," I replied, ruffling her hair. Victoria was upstairs, supposedly showering. Heading to the garage, I heard a buzz from the table. Thinking it was my phone, I glanced. It wasn't mine, it was Victoria's, same model, same case, but hers had a cracked corner. I shouldn't have looked, but I'm glad I did. It buzzed again and something in me froze. I picked it up. A new message appeared on the lock screen. "Missed last night. Wish you were in my bed again." My stomach dropped. My hands shook. The name, Martine. Martine was a family friend, my friend. We'd worked together years earlier, stayed in touch. He'd been part of our circle forever, came to dinners, barbecues, played chess with me in the living room. I drove him to the hospital when his mother died. He was like a brother. And all along he was betraying me, sleeping with my wife. That night I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I stared at the message until the words blurred. My heart pounded so hard I thought Lucia might hear it. Then I set the phone down, grabbed the glue, and sat beside her as she glued Jupiter in place. "Looks great, Lucia," I said, forcing a smile. I don't know how I got through that moment, but I did. 2 days later, I filed for divorce. Quietly, cleanly, no fights, no scenes. Victoria spun it to friends and Lucia as if we'd just grown apart. When Lucia was 14, I tried explaining why I left. I sat on her bed, the one I'd built when she was 5, pink sheets and glow-in-the-dark stars still on the ceiling. She deserved the truth about her mother, Martine, and the silent storm I'd endured. "Lucia," I began, keeping my voice steady, "I need to talk about something important." "About Mom? Martine? The divorce?" she said, looking up from her phone, slightly annoyed. "What did she tell you?" I asked. "She said you gave up, weren't happy, were cold, distant." I looked at my calloused hands, which had carried more than she'd ever know. "Lucia, there's more. Your mom and I tried, but something happened that hurt more than I can explain." "You're making it sound like it's all her fault," she said, arms crossed, defensive. "I'm not blaming her," I said quickly, "but I won't lie. She cheated on me with Martine." The words hung like smoke. Lucia blinked slowly, then let out a sharp laugh. "That's disgusting. Why would you say that?" "Because it's true," I said softly. "You've seen how close they've gotten, how often he's around. I'm not saying this to hurt you, but I can't keep lying to protect a false story." Her eyes turned cold. "No, you're lying." "I'm not." "Yes, you are," she shouted, standing. "God, why are you doing this? Justifying leaving by making Mom the villain?" I stood too, not touching her. "Lucia, I stayed. I swallowed it for months for you so you wouldn't grow up hating her. But you're old enough now. You deserve to know." "I don't want to hear this," she screamed, trembling. "You're just bitter because she found someone else. You're being cruel." Felt like a punch. "Lucia, no. Stop. Just stop." She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. The phrase, "If you're enjoying the video, give me a like. Let's continue," was removed as an out-of-place social media prompt. likely a remnant of a video format, to maintain narrative coherence. I stood in her room, staring at the spot where she used to ask me to check for monsters under the bed. I realized that sometimes telling the truth too late does more harm than good. So I stopped explaining. Victoria moved in with Martine before the divorce papers dried. That was 17 years ago. I kept things civil with Victoria for Lucia's sake. I attended every parent-teacher conference, school play, soccer game, and birthday. I held her hand through scraped knees, stayed up late helping with tough homework, packed lunches, listened. I was there. When she got into her top-choice college, she called me first. "Dad, I got in," her voice buzzing with joy. "Holy cow, Lucia, that's amazing. I knew you'd do it. You earned this." "I told you before, Mom," she added, and her tone gave me hope. I thought it meant something, that those years mattered. So when Lucia called months ago, voice brimming with excitement, I was thrilled. "Dad," she said, "I'm getting married." I smiled so wide my cheeks hurt. "That's incredible, sweetheart. Tell me everything." She gushed about Alejandro, her boyfriend of years, whom I'd met a few times. "He's kind, respectful, steady like you, Dad," she said. I couldn't speak for a second, throat tight. "God, that means everything to me. I'm proud of you. Will you walk me down the aisle?" she asked. "Of course," I said without hesitation. Then she paused. "There's something I want to talk about. It's about Martine. I want him at the wedding." I froze. "Martine?" "Yeah," she said. "He's been in my life a long time." I swallowed, fingers curling around the phone. "You're asking me to be okay sitting near the man who destroyed our family? It's my day. I don't want drama," she sighed. "Martine's not your enemy anymore, is he?" I didn't yell or curse, kept my voice calm. "Lucia, this man betrayed me, betrayed our family. You're asking me to pretend that didn't happen?" "I'm asking you not to ruin my wedding," she snapped. "I'm not trying to ruin anything," I said. "But I can't sit there and pretend." Then she said it. "Dad, you're being petty." She didn't mean to cut so deep, but it sliced through me. I was silent for a long time. Then I said, "I hope the wedding's beautiful, Lucia. I hope Alejandro is everything you dreamed. But I won't be there." I expected tears, please, some realization of what she was asking. But there was only silence, a long, cold silence. Then she said, "Fine." And the line went dead. That was 6 months ago. The wedding happened. I didn't go. I told myself I wouldn't look, would stay off social media. That resolve lasted 3 days. A mutual friend tagged me in a group photo, unaware I wasn't there. I clicked, and there they were, Victoria, radiant in white like a twisted second bride, standing by Lucia, holding a bouquet as if it were her day too, as if she hadn't abandoned us years ago. Martine was beside her, smiling, holding her hand like he hadn't sat in my living room, eaten my food, laughed at my jokes while sleeping with my wife behind my back. And Lucia, my daughter, on his arm down the aisle. I stared at that photo until the screen blurred. It felt like I'd died, or worse, like I'd never existed, erased from my own life. 2 weeks later, I packed away her childhood photos. The bumblebee costume, her toothless first day of school smile, the drawing of our house with a big sun and Poppy in crayon. Not out of anger, but grief. I couldn't keep looking at memories that meant nothing to her anymore. They were mine now, only mine. Around Christmas she called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. I heard the first line. "I just wanted to say, I hope you can get over this." I stopped it, deleted it, moved on as if it were a phase, a spat, as if losing your place in your daughter's life was something to get over. Last week someone knocked. It was Victoria. I barely recognized her, older, tired, worn in a way I hadn't seen. Not polished like in the wedding photos, but raw, real. I didn't invite her in, she didn't ask. "Lucia didn't know," she said. "Didn't know what?" I asked. She fidgeted with her purse strap, looking down. She thought we fell out of love. I stared, expression blank, stomach churning. She shifted, looked up. She didn't know about the affair. I never told her. I leaned against the doorframe. She found out last month. Martin and I fought. He told her everything, how we started, that we were together when I left you, that he'd come over when you worked night shifts. She paused. She's angry, Carlos. Really angry. Says she feels like a fool. Victoria's voice was calm, not shaky or dramatic, just worn, like someone realizing the damage was permanent. She cut Martin off completely. And me, she added as an afterthought. She says she's not sure she can ever forgive me. I said nothing. What could I offer? Sympathy? Forgiveness? Closure? I wasn't sure they were mine to give. She wants to talk to you, Victoria continued. She says she finally understands what she put you through, that she judged you without the full story. I nodded, more to myself than her. It wasn't anger moving through me, it was exhaustion, a quiet ache long dried into scar tissue. I wish her the best, I said finally. But I'm done with the drama. Victoria blinked. She's your daughter. She was, I replied, voice steady. And I loved her enough to let her believe the best of you. I swallowed that pain for years so she could have two parents to love. I forced myself to see your face every other day so she wouldn't hate me. But when she chose him over me, knowing I'd always been there, that was her choice. I'm not chasing to fix this. Victoria looked like she wanted to speak, but I stepped back and closed the door. Some stories don't end with fireworks, a reunion, or a tidy bow. Some end with a quiet truth. Love isn't always enough when trust is broken. I didn't walk away out of spite. I walked away because I accepted that sometimes the people we bleed for choose those who made us bleed. I refused to sit in that front row and smile as if none of it happened. That was the day I let go. I haven't looked back. About 6 months later, I got a letter. Not a text, not an email, but a handwritten letter in a plain white envelope, no return address. The handwriting was unmistakable, Lucia's cursive, the same she used on a Father's Day card in 3rd grade, spelling hero as Harrow. I still have that card somewhere, probably in an attic box, corners bent, stained with glue from a long-forgotten art project. I remember her proud smile when she gave it to me. I didn't open the letter right away. It sat on my kitchen table for 3 days, moved from one end to the other like it had a timer, like opening it would unleash grief, memory, guilt. I wasn't ready, not to hear her rewrite the past or let myself hope. But one night, I poured a glass of bourbon, the kind I save for quiet nights and sharp thoughts, sat down and read it. Dad, I don't know how to start except to say I was wrong. So wrong. I've thought about that phone call every day since. The word petty makes me sick now. I don't know why I said it. I think I was protecting something. Maybe my idea of a perfect day, maybe my denial. You were always there. Always. When Mom missed my piano recital, you were there. When I was scared to take my driving test, you drove me around empty parking lots until I got it right. When I called crying after my first big fight with Alejandro, you answered at 2 a.m. and calmed me down. When I said I was getting married, your voice broke with pride. I should have known then. I thought Mom and Martin started long after your divorce. I didn't know the depth of it. In my teens, you tried telling me the truth, but I couldn't handle it, so I shut down and you didn't push. Mom made it sound like your marriage just dissolved. She never told me about her affair. Not until after the wedding, when things with Martin fell apart and he got cruel, saying things that gave me chills. He told me things he shouldn't have. I realized what you swallowed all those years. You never made Mom the villain, let me love her without baggage, didn't make me choose. But when I asked you to sit by him, to share space with the man who betrayed you, I made you choose. And I chose wrong. I don't expect forgiveness or anything. I just want you to know I see it now. All of it. I'm sorry I didn't before. I love you, Dad. If there's a way to mend this, I'll wait for it. Lucia. I cried. I hadn't cried in years. Not during the divorce, not seeing her wedding photos, not packing away her childhood. But I cried for the 10-year-old who thought gluing planets was more important than the breaking under her roof, for the man who stayed silent to protect her, for the father unsure if he'd hear, "I love you" again without bitterness. I realized I should have insisted on telling her the truth about her mother's affair, no matter how hard it was. It might have spared us this pain. Still, I didn't call her. I wasn't ready that I carried her letter for months, turning her words over like a polished stone. I needed to know if I could reopen that door or just watch through the window, keeping her at a distance. 3 months after reading it, I was at the hardware store picking paint for the unused guest room. A little girl ran past, dragging a tiger plushie almost as big as her. "Daddy," she called, "why do some paints say eggshell if they're not made of eggs?" I smiled, remembering Lucia insisting birthday cards had real glitter. Then I heard, "Dad." I turned. There she was, no makeup, hair in a messy bun, grocery bag dangling from her fingers, biting her lip like when she'd sneak candy. She said nothing else, just stood there, eyes locked on mine, a tear rolling down her cheek. I opened my arms. She dropped the bag and ran to me. We stood in aisle 17, surrounded by primer and varnish, crying like strangers finding their way home that we didn't fix everything in one hug. Healing doesn't work that way. But the next day we met for coffee. The week after we met again. We talked, argued, relearned to trust. I finally told her the whole story, not for revenge but because she deserved the unfiltered truth. I shared how I found Martine's message, why I stayed silent, and how much it hurt to miss her wedding. She listened, eyes wet, as I unloaded years of guilt and regret. She's in therapy now, real therapy, digging through the wreckage her mother and I left. She's expecting a daughter. "I want you in our lives," she said, hand on her belly. Those words broke something in me and opened something else. I paused, holding her hand to my cheek, knowing I couldn't say no. I hugged her tightly, as if I could erase years of silence and resentment. I promised to be there for her and my granddaughter, with the same pride I felt when Lucia was born. As for Victoria, Lucia wants nothing to do with her. I don't know if she'll ever forgive her. In the end, I guess everyone gets what they deserve. Each time we talk, we remember trust takes time to rebuild, but step by step, we can. I learned silence, even to protect, can become distance. Speaking the truth, though painful, is the strongest act of love a father can offer. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it opens a path to a future where, despite the scars, we can choose to be together.